Today, we're preparing a delicious pot of pinto beans as well as a pot of collard greens. And we're going to do it just a little bit different, but you know what? That's what we Southern girls do. So, take a seat and let's get started. Now, I'm sure you know that greens do not come clean, and you will definitely want to remove the stems because those stems are like little pieces of wood sometimes once they get into your mouth. So I like to take the leaves totally off the stems, especially in the case of collards. So what I'm going to do is that I've got my spinner here. I've added some fresh filtered water into the spinner and a little bit of baking soda. So I'm going to give these greens a really good wash and then pour out the water, add more water, and we'll be able to get these greens good and clean. Now we're going to bunch and roll these greens and then slice them into about half-inch slithers. And the reason for doing that is because the slimmer the leaves are, number one, they're going to be more tender, and number two, they're going to cook faster. Now, I'm going to share with you my philosophy when it comes to slicing onions. Never, never, never just slice one onion. Always slice at least 2 or 3 or 4 because while you're slicing and dicing, you can be preparing the onions that you need for another night.
Well, this onion's not looking too good.
One of the onions that I opened had a bad center. And so, had this bad center been too large, I would have just thrown the whole onion away. And you know, if the entire onion is soft and squishy, then just discard it. But if you find that you have a soft spot in the center, then take those soft spots out, remove them, and then wash the remaining part to make sure that you rinse away any residual, um, it could be mold or bad specks or whatever it may be that's inside of that onion. So remove all of that and only use the good part. I have a leftover ham bone that I'm going to be using. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to cover it in some chicken broth and boil it down. And we're going to make a delicious broth. I'm going to add in 1 container of actual chicken broth. I'm going to add in another container full of our water. And once we do that, then I'll just let this bubble, because we're going to be using it for our greens as well as for our pinto beans. Okay, so I've got a quart of water. I'm going to put an onion in here, a whole onion, because I want that to be well seasoned. Let's add the onion. Let's put in our house seasoning. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of house seasoning, which is garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper. I'm also going to add in a teaspoon of no salt seasoning. Just remember, we're looking for really strong flavors, because this is going to season both our pinto beans as well as our greens. And I'm going to add just a pinch. Notice I'm using the back of the spoon, and notice how much that is. That's about 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepperoncino. And if you don't like that, then don't add it. All right, so those 3 things are going in. That's the base. Now we're going to let this cook. I've got the greens over here. They're clean. They're ready to go. And let's get the broth done. I've discovered the secret for cooking for 2. It is making sure that the vessel that you're cooking in is small. So I found this cute little crock pot that I believe it's about 2.5 to 3 quarts, just big enough. So I've added about 29 ounces of pinto beans to this crock pot. I've linked the crock pot down below, so that if you're a family of 1 or 2, this is the perfect pot for you. And we're going to slow cook these pinto beans. Along with pinto beans and cornbread, you absolutely have to have cornbread. And greens, pintos, cornbread. Some tomatoes, some onions. Oh my goodness. My southern lips are just quivering. A cup of yellow cornmeal. I'm going to add in a cup of all-purpose flour. To the cornbread, we've added baking powder, baking soda, uh, and some sugar. And I thought, oh my goodness, the guys are still talking on the phone and they're so loud. we're also adding about a cup and a half of buttermilk. Now, keep this in mind. When you're using buttermilk, be sure that you shake it well before you start to pour. And we're also going to need an egg because we need that egg as the binder. I'm going to place my cornbread mixture into a silicone cupcake container. And this is the best purchase I've ever made, I think, from Aldi's. And you know, when I went back to get another one, they were gone. That's how fast they went. These are little silicone muffin tins, and you know, you just have to spray them just a little bit, but those muffins are going to come out beautiful. Our pinto beans are going to cook for about 6 hours on high. So because of that, I'm able to add the vegetables in fresh. I don't have to saute them, and I'll mix them up. I'm going to use a portion of the ham and chicken broth that we made, and I don't want any of the meat off of the bone, just the flavor of the broth. I picked up this pack of green onions from Aldi's. I could not believe the size of these green onions. They are huge and they're so pretty. And in fact, the funny thing is that back during the summer when you really expect to see the nice large green onions, this was not what we were getting. We had little skinny things. So I'll be excited to see just how wonderful they taste. Let's see, I've got my green onions chopped up while we're waiting for the cornbread to come out of the oven, because you know you want that to come out right at the last minute. So Now these are some of the onions that we had left. I'm not going to use them all because I know the big guy's going to want to sprinkle some. I'll go ahead and put those in. I still have that other container full of onions, so let's put all of those in there. Now I've got some Aldi's Italian dressing. A little black pepper. And I'm so glad we got this done just in time so it could marinate a little bit. There's our cucumber, tomato and onion salad. There's our cucumber, tomato and onion. And you see those beautiful muffins? They just need time enough to get a little more brown on them. I think I'll turn them around and let them finish up for about 5 minutes. Oh, they look awfully pretty. I'm going to take them out and test them. Keep this in mind when you're preparing a budget-friendly meal. You're keeping things short, sweet, and simple. Our menu tonight was quite simple, so I'm going to show you how much it costs and how close I was able to get to $10 and have food left over. And here we are. Tonight's budget-friendly pinto beans and collard meal was $10.44, and I actually got 3 nights of meals out of this recipe. Wow, the big guy's plate is so colorful, absolutely perfect. Can you believe he wants hot sauce? Really? Now, I need a much smaller plate, so you're going to see that I'm actually using a salad plate. So, this is what I'm going to do. Oh, does that not look amazing? So, I've got everything the big guy had. Going to put my little muffin right there. Going to add just a tiny bit of salad to it because I need the salad. And I like the salad. And here's my plate, but very much reduced. So, you ready to taste? I love my cucumber tomato salad. Just adds that freshness to the plate. And last but not least, I'm going to have a little bit of that cornbread. Now I'm putting that cornbread down in the juice between the greens and the pintos because that's how we Southern girls do it. You have enjoyed today's Southern recipe of pinto beans, collards, and a delicious tomato cucumber onion salad. Come back for more recipes to add to your weeknight menu.